Hello, and welcome to the second in a series of special retrospectives. I'm your host, Brian Hardy, and for the next half hour I'll be bringing you a selection of remarkable stories from a quarter century of our news archives. Our government has always been one of our main sources for news stories, from municipal issues like fighting the demolition of a landmark to federal discourse of climate change. We now bring you some of those stories in a part of the show called Politics in Retrospect.
Premier Grant Devine is finally in town and was the first of the four premiers to land this afternoon. Immediately after leaving the plane, he was met by local MLA Michael Hoffner and then faced a press conference set up by the large media faction which has moved into town. The Premier was barraged by questions concerning the need for the meeting, and his answer to that was the need for unity across Western Canada. He adds the idea is to address the concerns of Western Canadians who feel they've been ignored in the West because of all the trouble in the East.
It's time to put our province first, our people, our culture, our agriculture, our future, our children, at the head of the list, at the top of the pile. In the last 3 or 4 years, people here have a sense that nobody's been really speaking up for the aspirations of Western Canadians. We're going to discuss all
Some
of
the agricultural issues on the agenda include prices and high interest rates. He adds things like GATT and low commodity prices will also be discussed. One of the local agriculture issues that many people in town would like the premiers to discuss is the United Oilseeds crusher, which has been down for close to a year and a half. MLA Michael Hoffner says the issue isn't on the agenda, but if things go well, it might be discussed.
I do believe that if there is time in the Premier's schedule, we will be dealing with the local Chamber of Commerce here, and if the issue arises there, I guess probably that would be a good time when that might arise.
From the reaction of the Premier to the same question, it doesn't look hopeful that any local concerns will be discussed. But as Devine adds, this is a national conference.
We'll be visiting with local politicians and local people, and we'll hear them from barbecues, and they're coming into various other meetings. So we'll address some, but to be fair, it will be mostly talking about where does Western Canada fit into this new nation of Canada? What should our role be as Westerners? And I think local people are pretty interested in that because those kinds of decisions can affect local policy.
The Premier then went off for a tour of the new Lakeland College and then to the bi-provincial upgrader. Later this evening, a barbecue with about 600 people in attendance was held in honor of the conference. Tomorrow it will be down to business as things get started at bright and early and 7 in the morning with a private breakfast, and then at 9 the first round of discussion begins. Kevin Wilson, Broadcast Center News, covering the Western Premiers Conference.
Demolition is well underway at the Meridian School, but concerned citizens of Lloydminster aren't giving up their fight.
When they started demolishing it, we figured that we had to bring in a lot closer attention because as far as we're concerned, even though there's a tremendous amount of damage done, the building is still standing and there's still a chance to save it if council wants to.
The group staged a small protest this morning, tacking up petitions full of signatures and placards expressing their feelings. They want the school to remain intact and would like to see it declared a heritage site.
As long as it's standing, we'll be working at it. But people feel strongly about heritage buildings, even though council and the rest of it don't appreciate them. It's not just a flash in the pan of us half dozen that other people feel strongly. They're not as active as we are, but they feel strongly about it. You just have to talk to the population or listen to the horns out there when we've been picketing.
City Hall has, in my mind, has ran roughshod over this right from the very beginning, and to me, what the real crime is that a new City Hall is a vision of the future of where the city's going. This is what the past is. This is not the vision of the future. This is what the past is, and we could have had a lot of fun with this thing. The whole city could have had a lot of fun creating a process of setting up a vision of where the city was going.
City councilors unanimously approved the demolition order back in May at their regular meeting. City officials did not wish to comment on camera today, but City Clerk Tom Lysick did say leaving the building standing would not be prudent. He added contractors have now found parts of the inside structure to have crumbled. He feels the city did respond to public concerns, leaving the door open to representation and, in the end, proceeding based on the best input from the greatest amount of people.
In a symbolic gesture, concerned citizens of Lloydminster had what may turn out to be their final say on the issue today. Until the final brick is on the ground, though, they say they won't give up and intend on keeping their hopes alive. Shannon Fagan, NewsHour.
The ratification of the accord designed to cut greenhouse gas emissions was no surprise to many in the Midwest.
Everybody hung in till the bitter end, of course, to say no, we shouldn't ratify this because it is not the right direction for us to go. Certainly we need to do some things about climate change if it's substantiated in the science community. At this point it isn't. But they're forging ahead with Kyoto. It's all about legacy for the Prime Minister, and I'm just hopeful that now that he's got his legacy, he'll leave us the hell alone.
Former Alberta Energy Minister Steve West was hoping the federal government would have taken more time for consultation before ratifying the protocol.
You've set a target and a date and a commitment that is so vague that it confuses not only industry but Canadians.
However, many environmental groups are applauding the government's motion and hope to see legislation in place soon.
Unless we enact these regulations as quickly as possible and find other source of energy as soon as possible, we're going to be in desperate straits because we can't keep producing food. There was not going to be a farmer left if we keep on the way it is now. And it's extremely serious, so I'm just delighted. Hopefully they'll get on with it.
Even though the Kyoto Accord has been a hot topic for months, residents in Lloydminster had a mixed reaction to today's ratification.
Well, I think we have to look after our environment, and I think you have to start somewhere.
I have no opinion on it.
They've approved something that they know nothing about. They really don't have a plan. They just don't know what they're doing. This is just for Gretchen's sake, not ours.
I actually didn't even know that had happened.
According to West, many people are misinformed and don't understand the accord, which is part of the problem.
Federal government hasn't taken enough time to engage Canadians on the reality of what this is. But I don't think that you could explain this for the next 10 years and have the majority of people totally understand it.
Those on both sides of the debate are planning to wait and see what comes out of the ratification.
I think that there is, in the end, there is hope. It won't be the end of the world, but it's too bad we have to go through a 2-3 year window of the unknowns.
The improvement of the world, the whole world, for goodness sakes. We're talking about the environment we all live in. If we're going to live here, for goodness sakes, let's not make it any worse than we already have in the last 100 years.
The accord will be implemented through cabinet orders before the end of the year. Nina Gill, NewsHour.